No surprise to us living here in New Mexico that we have some great Mexican food. But now two of our restaurants have been named as having some of the best Mexican food in the whole country.
Ever wondered which Mexican chains you should avoid at all costs? And which two are actually worth it? Picture sitting down with a basket of chips and salsa, only to realize the salsa tastes like watered-down ketchup and the tacos are more cardboard than carne. But behind the neon signs and sizzling commercials, not every chain tells the full story. So which ones are secretly worth your appetite? Let's kick things off with the late-night stop that can save your hunger, but sometimes wreck your stomach. Taco Bell. For generations, Taco Bell has been the go-to when cravings hit at odd hours. The neon lights, the drive-thru that never seems to close, the menu full of crunchy tacos and cheesy burritos that promise a quick fix. It all feels like comfort on demand. Many of us remember road trips that ended with a bag of tacos on our lap, or college nights when a dollar menu taco was practically a lifesaver. But here's the problem. What feels like a bargain bite often turns into a regret-filled reality. The tacos, for example, look crisp and fresh in the commercials, but too often arrive soggy, with meat that tastes less like seasoned beef and more like mystery mush. Burritos are packed with filler, rice, beans, and lettuce, so thinly spread that you sometimes need a magnifying glass to find the protein. The nachos? They start strong, but within minutes, the chips collapse into a pool of neon cheese sauce that sticks more to your fingers than your memory. And while the price has always been part of the draw, even that has shifted. What once felt cheap now feels less like value and more like compromise. Seniors and longtime fans who remember the Taco Bell of decades past often say, "It just does not taste the same anymore." That is not to say it is all bad. Taco Bell has its diehard fans for a reason, those who swear by the Crunchwrap Supreme or that one taco that hits just right when you need it most. But as a chain, it has become more of a gamble, sometimes satisfying, sometimes stomach-turning. So let me ask you this. Is Taco Bell your guilty pleasure, or do you think it has lost every ounce of its charm?
Sliding into the list is the once fresh favorite that turned into a gamble of portion sizes and safety scares, Chipotle Mexican Grill. When Chipotle first came onto the scene, it felt like a revolution. The open kitchen, the assembly line of fresh ingredients, and the freedom to build your burrito exactly how you wanted. It all felt modern and exciting. It was fast food with a sense of quality, a step above the greasy tacos and reheated beans you found elsewhere. For years, people swore by it. But then the cracks began to show. The most obvious issue? Food safety. Chipotle has been hit with multiple outbreaks over the years, from E. coli to norovirus, and those headlines stuck. Suddenly, what felt like the fresh and safe option turned into the risky one. On top of that, the portion sizes that once left you with a burrito the size of a football now sometimes feel stingy, especially with proteins. Fans have noticed less steak, fewer scoops of guacamole, and more rice and beans taking up space. Flavor has also become inconsistent. Some locations still serve up burritos packed with smoky meats and zesty salsa, while others taste bland, like the staff forgot the seasoning. That inconsistency makes it hard to trust the brand. One meal is great, the next is disappointing. And then there is the price. Chipotle used to be the value leader in fast casual Mexican food, but now a burrito with guacamole can cost nearly as much as a sit-down restaurant meal. For seniors and families, that adds up quickly, making people wonder if it is still worth it. The shine has dulled, and while many still eat at Chipotle out of habit, the magic that once made it special feels gone. So here's my question. Do you still trust Chipotle with your burrito bowl, or do the headlines and high prices keep you away? Coming up is the chain that tried to be both burger joint and taco stop, but ended up confusing everyone. Del Taco. Del Taco has always been a curious case in the fast food world. On one side of the menu, you have tacos and burritos. On the other side, cheeseburgers and fries. For some customers, this variety was a selling point. Where else could you grab a taco and a milkshake in the same order? But for many, it has always felt like a chain that never fully committed to what it wanted to be. The tacos themselves are serviceable, but rarely memorable. They often lack the punch of bold seasoning, with shredded lettuce and cheese piled on top to distract from meat that feels flat. The burritos can be filling, but sometimes they are more rice than anything else, leaving you chewing through carbs instead of flavor. Meanwhile, the burgers are just average, nothing that would make you skip a trip to an actual burger joint. This identity crisis has hurt Del Taco. While other chains leaned into their Mexican-inspired roots, Del Taco seems stuck trying to do everything, which left it doing nothing particularly well. Add in inconsistent quality from one location to the next, and you have a brand that feels more confusing than craveable. Still, Del Taco has its loyalists. Some love the quirky menu, some swear by the chicken soft taco, and others insist the crinkle-cut fries are the best part of the experience. But when the highlight of a Mexican chain is the fries, it says a lot. So here is the fun one. Do you think Del Taco should stick to tacos, or do you secretly love that you can grab a burger and burrito in the same meal? Next on the chopping block is the burrito rival that always seems like a watered-down version of its competitor, Qdoba Mexican Eats. Qdoba came onto the scene as the alternative to Chipotle. Same assembly line, same big burritos, same mix of proteins, rice, beans, and salsas. For a while, some people even preferred it, especially since guacamole and queso were included without the extra charge. But over time, Qdoba developed a reputation as the weaker sibling in the burrito wars. The food, while similar in style, often lacks the boldness of Chipotle's best offerings. The meats can be bland, the rice sometimes gummy, and the salsas watery instead of fresh. While Chipotle struggled with food safety, Qdoba's struggle was more about standing out at all. It never had that wow factor, nothing to make you crave it over the competition. Atmosphere is another issue. Many Qdoba locations feel quieter, less energetic, and sometimes even empty compared to their bustling rivals. That lack of energy makes the dining experience feel dull. Customers often describe it as fine but forgettable, which might be the worst fate for a restaurant chain. Even the free extras, once a bragging point, no longer carry the same weight now that prices have risen. Paying nearly the same amount as Chipotle for a burrito that tastes like an afterthought does not inspire loyalty. Qdoba is not terrible, but in the competitive world of Mexican fast casual, being not terrible is not enough. So here is the question. If you had to pick, would you go for Chipotle's risk or Qdoba's forgettable safety net? Taking center stage with more noise at the door than flavor on the plate is Moe's Southwest Grill. If you have ever walked into a Moe's, you know the routine. The moment you step inside, every employee shouts, "Welcome to Moe's!" at full volume. At first, it feels quirky and fun, like you're part of some inside club. But after the excitement wears off, what lands on your plate often does not match the enthusiasm at the door. The burritos, for example, are loaded up assembly line style with rice, beans, meat, and salsa. But too often, the flavors are muted. The meat can taste underseasoned, the rice dry, and the salsa is more watery than spicy. The queso, once a fan favorite, has a reputation for being hit or miss, with some customers swearing it is the best thing on the menu and others saying it tastes like bland paste. Another issue is consistency. One Moe's location may give you a stuffed burrito that feels worth the price, while another location skimps so badly you wonder if you're paying the same amount for half the food. Seniors and longtime fans often complain that the quality has slipped compared to when the chain was at its peak. Atmosphere can be another deal breaker. The loud greeting can be fun once, but for some people, it quickly feels forced. Add in restaurants that sometimes look run down or messy, and the energy fades fast. Moe's set out to feel like a fiesta, but it often feels more like a gimmick. It's not all bad. Some folks still love Moe's for the variety of toppings, the free chips and salsa, and the occasional burrito that comes out just right. But when your best compliment is the free side dish, it does not say much for the rest of the meal. So let me ask, do you enjoy the big welcome to Moe's greeting, or do you think it's more noise than flavor? Rolling in with plenty of potatoes but not much taco pride is Taco John's. This Midwest-born chain is best known for one thing: potato olays. Those little round fried potatoes are beloved by many, often stealing the spotlight from the tacos themselves. For some, that is enough reason to visit. But when the side dish becomes the star, you know the main event is falling short. Taco John's tacos often come across as average at best. The shells are sometimes stale, the meat filling can be greasy without much flavor, and the toppings are basic: shredded lettuce, cheese, and a squirt of sauce that rarely wows. Burritos are filling, but more because they are stuffed with rice and beans than because they are bursting with flavor. For a chain that built its name around tacos, the tacos themselves are rarely the highlight. The marketing has leaned into being different from Taco Bell, with slogans about being bolder, better, and more Mexican-inspired.
But the reality does not always live up to the promise. Many customers admit they only stop by for the potatoes or nostalgia, not the actual tacos. To be fair, potato olays have their charm. Crispy, salty, and perfectly dunkable in nacho cheese or salsa, they often end up being the most memorable part of the meal. But that is the problem. If the best thing about your taco chain is the potatoes, something is off. So here's the question. Have you ever gone to Taco John's for the tacos, or was it always just for those famous potato olays?
Now here's a cantina that once promised a fiesta, but too often delivers microwaved mediocrity. On the Border Mexican Grill and Cantina. When On the Border first started, it looked like a fun sit-down alternative to fast food Mexican chains. Bright colors, sizzling fajitas, endless baskets of chips and salsa. It felt like a night out with a little flair. For a while, it worked. Families came for affordable Tex-Mex, and the menu had enough variety to make everyone happy. But as the years went on, the quality slipped. The fajitas, once a sizzling spectacle that came to your table on a hot skillet, too often arrive lukewarm and lifeless. The tacos and enchiladas, meant to feel hearty and authentic, sometimes taste like reheated leftovers. Even the chips, which should be the easiest win, are sometimes stale or oversalted. For a sit-down restaurant, these misses stand out even more, because you expect better when you are not just grabbing food in a drive-thru. Service can be uneven too. Some locations still offer friendly, attentive staff, but others feel rushed or indifferent. That lack of consistency makes it hard to trust the experience. Seniors who remember On the Border's earlier days often say it has lost the charm that once made it special. Of course, some people still enjoy the chain, especially for casual margaritas and appetizers, but when the highlight of your meal is the chips and drinks, the main dishes are not pulling their weight. So here's my question. Do you remember when sizzling fajitas at On the Border felt like a treat, or has it always been more style than substance?
Marching into the list with a name that shouted fresh, but food that whispered reheated, is Chevy's Fresh Mex. Chevy's once positioned itself as the lively, family-friendly spot for Mexican food. Big dining rooms, colorful decor, and a menu full of tacos, tamales, and sizzling platters made it feel like a party every night. Their motto, Fresh Mex, promised something better than fast food. Tortillas made in-house, bold flavors, and a focus on freshness. But many customers quickly discovered that the promise did not match the plate. The tortillas may have been made on-site, but they were often served cold or rubbery. The enchiladas could be bland, with cheese that congealed into a heavy mess. Tamales, which should be soft and flavorful, sometimes arrived dry or oversteamed. Even the salsa, which should set the tone, leaned toward watery and under-seasoned. For families, Chevy's seemed like a safe option, but safe quickly turned into forgettable. The energy of the dining room could not make up for food that lacked soul. By the time the check came, many people felt like they had overpaid for food that tasted no better than frozen meals at home. It is no wonder so many Chevy's locations have shut down in recent years. The fresh reputation could not survive when customers kept leaving with the same complaint. This just does not taste fresh. So let me ask, was Chevy's ever really fresh for you, or do you think the name was always doing more work than the food?
Coming in hot, or sometimes sadly dry, is the flame-grilled chicken chain known as El Pollo Loco. At its best, El Pollo Loco can deliver a plate of juicy grilled chicken, seasoned with citrus and spices, paired with rice, beans, and warm tortillas. It is the kind of meal that makes you feel like you are getting something fresh and wholesome, compared to greasy, fried, fast food. But here is the catch. Too often, the chicken misses the mark. Instead of juicy, flavorful meat, customers end up with dry, stringy pieces that feel like they were left on the grill a little too long. The skin, which should be crispy and full of smoky flavor, can sometimes arrive rubbery and unappetizing. And once the chicken falls short, the entire meal feels like a disappointment. The sides do not always save the day either. Rice can be bland, beans watery, and tortillas sometimes taste like they were reheated hours ago. For a chain that built its brand on the promise of fire-grilled perfection, inconsistency is a huge problem. Seniors who remember the early years often talk about how the chicken used to be special, but now feels like another corner cut, and a long list of chains losing their touch. Still, El Pollo Loco does have fans. The menu is more varied than most Mexican chains, with healthier options like bowls and salads, and some people appreciate that. But at the end of the day, if your main star, the chicken, is not reliable, it is hard to keep people loyal. So here is the question. Have you ever had El Pollo Loco chicken that was truly worth remembering? Or was it more forgettable than fire? Slipping onto the list with bold promises but bland execution is Baja Fresh. When Baja Fresh first appeared,
It felt like a refreshing alternative in the fast casual Mexican world. No freezers, no microwaves, everything made fresh daily. That was the pitch. And at first, it sounded like a game changer. Who would not want a burrito or taco made with care instead of shortcuts? But somewhere along the way, the fresh promise got lost. The food often looks better than it tastes. Burritos may be big, but the fillings can lack seasoning, leaving you with a lot of rice and not much flavor. The tacos, which should be simple and delicious, sometimes taste like they were thrown together without much thought. Even the salsa bar, once a highlight, can feel like an afterthought when the options are watered down or missing punch. Part of the problem is competition. When you are promising fresh, customers expect you to deliver in ways that stand out. But Baja Fresh rarely stands out anymore. Prices have climbed, portions feel smaller, and too many meals leave customers thinking, I could have made this better at home. It is not all bad. The grilled fish tacos still have their fans, and some people swear by the healthier options compared to heavier chains. But overall, Baja Fresh became another chain that relied on its name instead of its flavor, and customers noticed. So let me ask, when you hear Baja Fresh, do you still think fresh, or does it just sound like an empty slogan now?
On the brighter side, few places still capture Tex-Mex fun like the colorful jalapeno dip-loving Chuy's Tex-Mex. Walking into a Chuy's feels like stepping into a party. Bright decor, funky artwork, and a menu full of bold Tex-Mex favorites set the tone right away. And unlike many chains that have slipped in quality, Chuy's has built a reputation for keeping things lively and flavorful. The creamy jalapeno dip is the first thing most fans mention, a sauce so addictive, people often joke it should be sold by the gallon. But the rest of the menu holds its own, from cheesy enchiladas to sizzling fajitas that actually arrive sizzling, not just lukewarm. The portions are generous, the flavor's consistent, and the atmosphere adds to the experience. Another strength is that Chuy's does not take itself too seriously. It feels playful, family-friendly, and welcoming, a place where seniors can enjoy comfort food and younger crowds can still have fun. The quality has stayed reliable enough that people keep coming back, which is more than you can say for most of the chains we have covered. That is not to say it is perfect. Some dishes are heavier than others, and the energy can be a little much if you are looking for quiet dining. But overall, Chuy's delivers what a Mexican chain should: food that makes you smile and a setting that feels like a fiesta. So, here's the question. Have you ever dipped into Chuy's famous jalapeno sauce? And could you stop yourself from ordering more?
And finally, let's celebrate a food truck success story turned national star with tacos that still taste daring, Torchy's Tacos. Torchy's started as a little Austin food truck with a mission: create tacos that were damn good. And that spirit is still alive today, even as the chain has grown across the country. Unlike many chains that lost flavor with expansion, Torchy's has managed to keep things creative and bold. The menu is filled with tacos you will not find anywhere else. Think fried chicken tacos with poblano sauce, or brisket tacos topped with pickled onions and jalapenos. Each one feels like its own creation, with flavors layered in ways that actually excite your taste buds. Even the vegetarian options feel like they belong, not just an afterthought. Atmosphere also adds to the appeal. Locations still carry that casual, slightly rebellious vibe of their food truck roots. The food feels fun, the branding feels cool, and the overall energy makes it more than just another taco stop. Yes, prices are higher than some fast food tacos, but the quality usually matches the cost. Customers walk away feeling like they actually tried something unique, not just another soggy taco from a drive-thru. For seniors who remember when tacos were a treat and not just fast filler food, Torchy's can feel like a welcome surprise. So here is the question. Would you rather play it safe with a classic taco or try one of Torchy's wild creations just for the story? And that is our full tour through the Mexican chains worth skipping and the rare ones worth savoring. Now tell us in the comments which chains surprised you most, hit that like button if you had fun, and subscribe to the hidden menu so you never miss the next food secret reveal.
And remember, the truth is not always on the menu.